Here is Ron DeSantis doing his best impression of Winston Churchill. Well, let's play Churchill first, just so you get a sense of just how much history has degraded rhetoric. This is Churchill, I think, upon announcing the entrance into World War II or thereabouts, certainly in terms of fighting the juggernaut that was Nazi Germany at this time.
We shall fight on the beaches, we shall fight on the landing grounds, we shall fight in the fields and in the streets, we shall fight in the hills, we shall never surrender, and if, which I do not for a moment believe, this island or a large part of it was subjugated.
Okay. And then he goes on to talk about, the possibility of them being occupied or invaded. But that's not the point. Here is how far we have fallen as a species. I give you Governor Ron DeSantis. In Iowa, what is this? The ride or die?
This is Senator Joni Ernst's event that she does for the Roast and Ride.
Roast and Ride. There you go.
As president, I recognize that the woke mind virus represents a war on the truth, so we will wage a war on the woke. We will fight the woke in education. We will fight the woke in the corporations. We will fight the woke in the halls of Congress. We will never, ever surrender to the woke mob. We will make woke ideology, leave it to the dustbin of history. It's gone.
Again, we could go through. We don't need any more of that. I mean, again,
tears in my eyes.
Yeah, that was really inspiring. The woke ideology, of course, is, as far as we know, because they don't really say what it is, right? It is the idea of teaching about the history of the United States, the idea of recognizing that things like discrimination exists both on a societal, cultural, and institutional level. And even this type of racism and bigotry and discrimination exists even where that wasn't necessarily the intent. But it reflects the makeup and the power dynamics of society that have existed in this country. So when you hear that the IRS, basically after taking a study, realizes that they audit black people at significantly higher rates than white people, you ask yourself, why is that? And it is because the way that our tax laws were structured, and who had the power in structuring the tax laws? It was white people. And they weren't even necessarily structuring these tax laws in a way to disadvantage black people. It just so happens they had the power, and people with power structure society in a way that benefits them. And there's plenty of examples of this. But just in case you thought it was just Ron D. or DeSantis.
Right, because, the general consensus among people who, like the Club for Growth people backing him, is that he might talk like Trump and say some of the crazy Trump stuff, but we can work with this guy, right? So he has to appeal to the MAGA base, but he really is one of us. And the other candidates are supposed to be even more moderate than DeSantis, at least in the public-facing way, right?
But they all know there is one ticket to a Republican presidency, and that is through, you want to call it fascism, bigotry, prejudice, attacking people who are marginalized in terms of their power in society. Here is the very reasonable Nikki Haley making a completely unfounded and bat crap crazy claim.
Woke, the word woke, used to be used by progressives to talk about an awareness of inequities and historical inequities. but obviously it means something else to conservatives criticizing it. What does it mean to you? How do you define woke?
There's a lot of things. I mean, you want to start with biological boys playing in girls' sports. That's one thing. The fact that we have gender pronoun classes in the military now. I mean, all of these things that are pushing what a small minority want on the majority of Americans, it's too much. It's too much. I mean, the idea that we have biological boys playing in girls' sports, it is the women's issue of our time. My daughter ran track in high school. I don't even know how I would have that conversation with her. How are we supposed to get our girls used to the fact that biological boys are in their locker rooms? And then we wonder why a third of our teenage girls seriously contemplated suicide last year? We should be growing strong girls.
Okay, all
confident
right,
girls.
let's stop this. First off, she can't define woke. She made it clear. She couldn't define woke. We are talking about maybe hundreds, probably thousands, not even tens of thousands of trans girls who are supposedly in this locker room. There's a reason why, and you covered this last week, the people in this audience have no idea what she's talking about.
Yeah.
They have no personal experience about this. They have had zero concern about what to tell their student athletes about possibly competing against trans people. But here's what's really disgusting. There has been an increase. Put up this graph. There has been an increase in the suicide rate, in particular, amongst 10 to 14-year-olds in this country. And I presume, we don't have this broken down in terms of gender, but I presume that for girls, it has also gone up this way. What is significant about this big jump between 2012 and 2013? What caused this jump? Was it because the Obama administration issued a reminder under, I think it's Title IX, that you need to have shared bathrooms? That would have been amazing because people would have had to be future fortune tellers, because that happened in 2016. The idea that she is attributing an increase in suicide rate to, to trans girls being in locker rooms is offensive, both because it's completely based in nothing, but also she must know that we have a problem with things like social media. If you go to 2012, this is when you will see a big jump in the adoption of social media by young kids. This is when they get their smartphones. The 2005, I think, is when smartphones got 50% penetration in the market. Just do the math. I know this from my own daughter. And to falsely attribute it to this is the reasonable Republican.
Yeah.
Is she the most reasonable?
More than 50% of transgender non-binary youth in this country seriously considered suicide in 2022, according to a Trevor Project study. It's pretty high, and disproportionately high compared to any other group when it comes to sexual identification or gender in kids. So that's clearly the bigger problem here, not just their very existence driving other kids to suicide. It's insane.
But that's the reasonable Republican.
Totally.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Steve Laddick, chair in federal courts at the University of Texas School of Law, author of The Shadow Docket, How the Supreme Court Uses Stealth Rulings to Amass Power and Undermine the Republic. Just a reminder, it's your support that makes this show possible. You can become a member at jointhemajorityreport.com. When you do, you help this show survive and thrive. Also, justcoffee.coop. Fair trade coffee, tea, or chocolate. Use the coupon code MAJORITY. You will get 10% off.